Dear Troublemaker, I have sent you a replay to keep you occupied until the tournament replays pick up. Your one true love, Bentguru. Oh, that's awkward. Let's see what Bentguru sent me. It's a team match, and it's supposed to be a new mode in the game. Now, I don't really know the rules, and I'm not really even a team player. I hate team play. Specifically because I'm so bad at it, but also because team play to me has this kind of inference where one player can easily blame the other player for being bad. So what do I know about team play? Well, let's start off. Generally speaking, any kind of strategy where your forces are split up has the potential for high amounts of gain economically, but high risk of attack. Generally speaking, if you guys are split up, it's going to not be so hot. Now, the opponents of Bentguru have guys had to go for 5 multi-rocket launchers and a whole bunch of FOBs. In fact, no. 3, 5, 8, 10, 14, 17, 19. Jesus Christ. These guys are Colonel Veers and Winifred Scott. And looks like Bentguru and KOMRADEFRUIT have decided to go with a lot of commands. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 commands. A lot of tanks, specifically a lot of expensive tanks. Look at these tanks. Wow, KOMRADEFRUIT, you are a madman. You are a madman. And looks like Bentguru is going for a lot of infantry and some weird tank destroyers. The thing is, Bentguru doesn't really play packed much, and this when someone like Bentguru plays packed, this is what you get. You get a guy who does like a lot of helicopter rushing and a lot of like weird units that generally other people don't use. I have no idea what this new game mode is actually. Never even heard about it. So it appears both players in their team approach have decided to go for the nice little western side of the map. And that means that this base here will probably go unconquered, and if it does, it won't have too much defending it. They can throw like a few infantry here, but the main battlefield will be on this side. So immediately, as I say it, the first thing that Colonel Veers does is, of course, throw some infantry at this location. And here comes a crazy amount of artillery. Now, in these kind of spammy games, an artillery fire like this should do a lot of damage, and all the multi-rocket launchers of the opponents are gone crazy. This looks like it's a very, very high points game, just because there's probably about 12,000 units worth of units on the map. I mean, Jesus Christ, each team has 20 Danas. That's look at this return volley of rockets. This is ridiculous. Like the entire area could be wiped out. Look how many freaking artillery is here. What is this mode? I don't understand. I just don't get it. And immediately we see all the transport helicopters from KOMRADEFRUIT coming in to wipe out the Delta Force and take out all the infantry. More infantry going to get rallied here, and a giant collection of helicopters for Bentguru and coming around the front. Of course, there's some Martyr Roland 2s. And look at this great micro, immediately just splitting up the helicopters, trying to split them up. This one needs to get some more split up, of course, because they're going to die very quickly. And look at this great split up, though. He has a nice arc here of helicopters smashing on this location. And looks like blue team, led by Colonel Veers, is going to take this Quebec location. However, with the amount of rockets firing here, this could be something crazy. And in the middle, we have insanely high amounts of helicopters. Looks like they might get pushed off, but no, there's not really any anti-aircraft coming. And I guess the strategy here for KOMRADEFRUIT and Bentguru was, hey, let's go rush helicopters and let's get insanely high amounts of artillery. And considering how much stuff is at this main base here, it works. So we've only just begun, and the score is already 5,600 to 5,000 in favor of Colonel Veers and Winifred, and it's just getting worse. And here comes the big lineup of tanks. KOMRADEFRUIT, of course, not going for any cheap tanks. No siree. He's going for T-80s, T-64s, and T-72s. And I guess this new game mode must revolve around like having insanely high amounts of income, because that's what this looks like. and it's going to completely bypass this entire location. And the Bookme will push off the Apache Indian. And this is how much money they have right now. These T-64, stop zooming in the wrong place, game. It did it again. Okay, I'm gonna... Yes, there we go. The T-64 is going to rush in the woods and take out infantry, which is just weird. And there's also some Abrams here and a lot of cheap tanks. The Super M60. I've never even seen this unit. Let's just pause this for a second before this thing dies. What the hell is this Super M60? Super M60. 2100 meter range. That's quite large. Not a lot of armor, just 6 compared to the 8 of the T-80. And it has a 105 millimeter cannon and a 12 7mm cannons. That's a lot of firepower. Alright, let's see this thing die now, because that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, and we have a nice little side flank here, like it really mattered, of infantry just gonna be dropped on top of all these tanks. Why not? Is there more infantry coming? Of course there's more infantry coming. In fact, there's a lot of infantry coming for Comrade Fruit. Just doing the conga line of the infantry is coming in this ridiculous game mode. And now Comrade Fruit and Bentguru have taken the lead, now up to 9,000 points. This ridiculous matchup. I've at most got up to 6,000 points. This is just insanity. And obviously you're gonna need a lot of control. So much stuff just died there. Might be enough damage to put back the lead. Ooh, doesn't get enough points, but a lot of vehicles damaged and stunned. Now you'd think, why doesn't Comrade Fruit get some supply vehicles? And the quite simple answer is because he doesn't need to get supply vehicles. He'll just get an entirely new army of vehicles. Oh, God. And so far, Middle has a lot of infantry. There's a lot of helicopters just kind of sitting here by Comrade Fruit. And Bentguru's actually just going to slowly drop in some infantry here. And all the while, he's got his crazy conga line of Spigs and Conkers and Faggots and all sorts of offensive names running forward. And the conga line for Bentguru is also available on the other flank, as the tanks of Comrade Fruit are seemingly going to retreat. But all the while, T-64 BBs with their super long, getting nerfed soon, no doubt, range, trying to pick off some stuff. And this must be some kind of hyper points game, because these guys have just rallied in like 20 tanks. 20 tanks that cost. Can we see how much they cost right now? Yes, we can. 110. So that's 440, 880, 1200, 600, 2000, 2400 points worth of tanks have been rallied in. So this is obviously some hyper mode of rallying units, because look at this. I've never seen Mark 10 chieftains. And here comes the infantry drop from Comrade Fruit, supported on the side by Bentguru, who's coming with a lot of infantry vehicles, especially these BMP2s. I'd like to take this time to note that we're going to see a lot of vehicles which just don't get used often. These vehicles are them. They're kind of interesting because they have the Conqueror rocket, and they have the 30mm cannon, which means they're good against infantry and tanks. The only downside is that they're quite expensive for what you get. You're looking at a 90 point... Oh, he's got maximum... Of course he has maximum veteran units. Why not? But they're very expensive for what you get, and they generally don't perform that well. But in this ridiculous game mode, of course we are. And here comes the side flank of anti-tank by Tiga. Not Tiga. His name's Bentguru. Bentguru doesn't play this faction. What am I talking about? And here comes the madness. It's just a high amount of anti-aircraft, and this group of units is getting completely swarmed. Dust is hitting the field as the infantry are swarmed and by Comrade. And yeah, it looks like we see a lot of depth on the field. I'm kind of wanting to play this game mode myself. This is very interesting. I'm wondering who came up with this. Probably not the designers. Super M60 is going to go down again. The Lod Stingers, of course, going to get wiped out by infantry. Very successful little push here by Comrade Fruit. And the points are just adding up. 20,000 points here. 10,000 point lead here. And all these Conkers are running into rockets very quickly, but they're getting the damage done. They just got to wipe out enough of these chieftain MKs. And keep in mind, there's a lot of models of these chieftains, apparently. There's like 10 of them. And most of these units here are completely out of their rockets, completely out of their valuable stuff, and a very successful push here. But meanwhile, there's another little flank here. No, that's the same flank. And looks like Bentguru should probably pull back all these vehicles so far, because they're running out of rockets. They've done the damage they need to do, however, and most of these vehicles are relatively cheap compared to the stuff that's being rallied out here. Now keep in mind these are max veteran units, of course. You know, can't have no low veteran units. And all that's really left here for Colonel Veers and Winifred Scott is this main base here. Now, of course, this game mode would be very, very good for people who are interested in managing a lot of units and are very, very good at micro. And if you're one such person, I will try and find out what the hell this is, because honestly, this is actually really interesting to watch, and I'm sure it'd be kind of interesting to play. I am a huge fan of tank pushing, so you know the concept of this is going to be good for me. And Bentguru says, like, sup, I'm just going to bring my my T-80s, my whole armada of T-80s to the front, because why not? You know, and this is really kind of similar to Supreme Commander, in which you're managing so many freaking units at once, and it's not even about individual micro so much as macro micro. And that's a weird concept, because those two concepts should go counterintuitive to each other. But it means that you're, instead of microing small groups of units effectively, you're microing giant armies effectively. And so here comes the T-64 BVs. I think he's running out of models of T-64s. And Bentguru is just going to continue this conga line of units. Where is he reinforcing from? Actually from this Kilo location. And you can see currently that Bentguru and KOMRADEFRUIT have the economic advantage, having their opponents only having the Papa location and maybe the Quebec location. All the while they have 4 bases with Oscar, Kilo, Juliet, and India. Also, apparently some forces over on this random location for some reason. Not sure why. I probably going to send him a message after I'm finished this, and just kind of get an idea of what the hell this is, because this is something. This is definitely something. And lots of artillery fire pounding on this location. The only things unaffected are the helicopters, which are not grounded, thankfully, and lots of damage getting done there. And Chieftain, MKs, Pattons, Amex Rolands, all sorts of vehicles that you just don't see that much of because they're just too expensive. They're going to come to the forefront. And this is the battle of super tanks. You have the Chieftain MK-20s versus your T-64s and your T-80s. Dear Lord. Like, despite the lead that Bentguru and KOMRADEFRUIT have given themselves, there's still quite a high amount of blue on the map, which is really weird for a matchup in which there's a 14,000 point lead. Here comes the push forward of Chieftain MK2s. Of course, a tank when it's moving has lower accuracy than when it's sitting still. So there's a slight disadvantage always to pushing. And he's just going to continue moving forward with his army into the massive lineups of rockets, which are mostly going to be drained out pretty soon. So he might be able to do a significant amount of damage eventually, but not right now. Here comes the second line of Chieftain MK2. It's not quite as big as the first line, and continuing moving forward these Pattons. I think the Pattons are what, like your long-rangey type units? I don't think they're tanky units. No, they're not tanky units in 1925. Well, I think the Chieftains actually have a longer range than that. And this could be a new like big giant game mode. That would be awesome. And that should be promoted. Look at this. Just crazy amounts of artillery pounding on this, and the Chieftains continue pushing forward. I mean, they could actually take this game and use this as a promotional trailer for the game. I mean, let's just hide the HUD for a second here. Look at this. This is really good. You would never... Oh my god, someone just signaled something. Okay, what's getting signaled here? This is getting signaled from me, I guess. Might not. Nothing's there, man. What are you signaling now? A defense. Of course you should defend that one command by itself. Alright, let's go back to hide the HUD, because that was pretty cool. And we can see over here, lots of rockets, and without the HUD, we can't really tell what these things are. You have to actually look at them and figure out. And going through the battlefield, which is just a blaze of fire that will not go out. You can see these tanks are actually using the tanks for cover, if that were a real game mechanic. And most of these are pretty well destroyed. So still a 20,000 point victory for Bentguru and KOMRADEFRUIT as they take on their very low rated opponents. I will say in advance that these Colonel Veers and Winifred Scott are both pretty brand new to the game-ish. They don't ladder if they are not new. So, you know, like, this is just this is just a game for funs, you know. Like, this isn't a serious game, and obviously it's not serious with the ridiculous score of this game. Sorry for that interruption. I had a doggy crisis. So yeah, a little bit of a problem now for Comrade Fruit, as most of his vehicles are running out of rockets, running out of ammunition, period, and it doesn't look like either player really wants to resupply any of their armies. Probably because we're all bazillionaires, and probably it might have been, actually, now I think with this number of units that is available, it might not even be worthwhile to actually put supply trucks in the deck for a matchup like this, just because if you have supply trucks, then you have less positions for actual aggressive units. And T64 is going to push back these AMX rolling 2s. There's a challenger here. There's really not much to defend here. He needs to rally in a lot more units. He also doesn't have a really good reinforcement point. He has to go all the way from... Oh, wait a minute. There's no commands left. Oh, here's commands over here. He's rallying in a lot more commands. Flying commands as well. He's got a command in the woods. And... okay. That's one way of surviving. And so it looks like the strategy now for Winifred Scott will be to repopulate this side, get a lot of income, and then just kind of stay in the game. All the while, he's got a few gunship helicopters. A lot of stuff here is, I guess, intended to slow down the army. And in fact, Colonel Veers did put some supply into his army. But oh, here comes some Urals from Bentguru, 2 of them. And of course, he's not using the normal Ural. No. He's using the 4320, which is like an extra $5. I honestly do not even know much of an advantage in the supply trucks. I know one has a gun, one does not, one flies. That's it. The other ones are all unimportant to me. And so in the meantime, Bentguru is going to come around, clean up. T64V, of course, does have some anti-air support here, so we'll be able to take up these helicopters. And are we seeing any expansions now? So there are some command armors just situated in weird parts of the map. I guess he's using them as scouts, because why not buy a 200-point scout? Why not? And a lot of the map has been populated by Comrade Fruit Bentguru. All the while we see a lot of commands coming out, and looks like they're going to use the scouts as well. Maybe, I don't know. And the flying commands need to really land, get some more points in the bank. And there's this really ridiculous point in the game where you have so many points that they just shorten it with Ks. It's like you have roughly 25k points. I'm not sure exactly how many points, but let's give or take 25k. I'm sure the game knows, of course. And so big resupply here with Bentguru's troops, and it just soaks up every single bit of poor Comrade Fruit's. Well, actually, this is Comrade Fruit stuff, so it's all soaking up, and they're able to finish off a lot of these patents. And here comes the Bentguru flank, hitting from the side. You're going to lock out most of the heavy hogs, and just going to continue to come in and pick off these challengers, these chieftain MK20s and whatnot. And it would generally be thought that in this kind of game mode that there'd be pretty huge favoring to being a NATO player, because generally speaking, NATO seem to have a higher quality of units. But at the highest levels, it seems to be relatively balanced. And by balance, I mean that Pact will kick your butts. So there's a few commands, like there's a lot of commands here, and I'm not really sure what they're used for at this point. I mean, I'm sure there's like an entirely different metagame to this game mode in which like there's something that, with your commands that has to be very specifically done. Like maybe you only get like 20 commands. Once you lose your 20 commands, you lose. Something like that. And here comes a big giant armada of Comrade Fruit helicopters, which is going to come in and steal, I guess, some of the FOBs, which are of course empty, and coming in for the kill on pretty much everything. Except for this command armor, which is seemingly going to get away. But, oh, we got a command armor kill. And so now, I guess this is kind of like a... It's like that scene in The Lord of the Rings, where Gimli and the gay elf are having a little bit of a killing contest. And of course, they're going like, you know, oh, I got 27 kills. Oh, I got 30. And, you know, they're just going at it, and it's kind of funny. Well, that's pretty much what's happening right here with Bentguru and Comrade Fruit. Really, who can get the more kills? So hopefully both players will be rushing ahead to try and beat each other's records. And let's see, the blue player has indicated defense. Yes, must defend this small location here. And this is actually true. The main point of entry will be right here across this bridge location. because that's where the majority of their army is. And so they're going to rally out a lot of units, because I guess they have 2 bases, so that's going to give them about $10,000 to spend. So that's something, but I mean, $10,000 is not really that much, considering they've lost about $60,000 worth of units so far. And they have a few command armors that are still like out and about, very low on fuel, so not gonna be able to do much. But here we go. This is probably the cheapest unit we've seen so far. It's a 3 vetted Spado Karnaski, and the Fusiliers are immediately just gonna jump on this, gonna like, sup, we're at Fusiliers, you're dead. He's even going for the expensive one, the Scott 2 AM, which has the Conqueror rocket on it, obnoxiously enough. And Winifred Scott says, "Attack! Attack here! There's VPZUs here! We cannot let them get a foothold." All the while, this weird flank that was created a long time ago finally kind of coming into effect. Able to secure this bridge location, which means that they'll be able to take India if they can secure this bridge location. And I'm assuming that you can't really run out of units in your deck with this particular game mode, because I'm pretty sure I've seen like 40 Amex rolling 2s from each player in this game. And here comes the artillery barrage. So skillful. There's a command here at Hotel as the entire army of Bentguru rushes forward with support from his friend. Wait a minute. What are you doing here, 255? T55, you don't belong in this battle. This is where the big boys are, boy. You don't belong here. Now get your poor ass out of this battle. You're not worth nearly 200 points. I expect 100 points or less in this battle. And so T64 is rushing across, really going across the bridge that was not expected. The entire arc of the army support was going around this bridge, but here we go. Bentguru is going across the obnoxiously different bridge, rushing in, taking in a lot of stuff. We have some of these really weird tanks. The M6 AOS. I didn't have time to read the title. That's how fast Bentguru kills stuff. And yeah, he's gonna kill them all off. Actually, he's gonna get all the stuff killed off. T55 is gonna rush across though, and they're really the only survivors, with a few T64Bs. And this rush looks like it's not really doing what he intended to do. There's really just too much anti-tank stuff here, and I guess Bentguru is not. Oh my God! Still the HEMTT supply truck, and now he's going to be able to do even more damage as more T55s rallying across, and just insanely big arm from Comrade Fruit to join the fray finally. He said, "Oh, Bentguru, is that all you can do? 8,000 points worth of damage? Now it's my turn." And he's coming in with a big giant force of T80s, T80Us, T64, T64BV, really the alphabet and the numeric code all put together. And we're seeing a pretty general retreat here from Colonel Veers and Winifred Scott, and they're not really able to rally anything out, so it looks like they're pretty much doomed right now. They do have some more command vehicles on the map, but really nothing of value. And boom, there goes their only entrance point on the map. And now let's go over to the ×10 vision, because with no real ability to reproduce, they're pretty well dead in the water. Bentguru has all the while maintained his lead in the contest of who can kill the most units. He is currently at 36,000 to Comrade Fruit's 29,000. Not far behind is Colonel Veers with 23,000, and Winifred Scott is so far away with 15,000. And we have lots of infantry vehicles going to try and pop out. This is kind of trippy looking. If you look at this from the distance, it looks like it's just blinking, but it's actually 2 of them overlapping each other. And here comes the remainder of the army coming out for Colonel Veers. Looks like he's going to forfeit in the only way that people know how to forfeit, which is throw all of your units forward and get them killed. Now there's going to be a little bit of anger here from Bentguru, because this means Comrade Fruit's going to get a lot of free kills here, adding to his total kill count numbers. And will this actually get away? He should drop these infantry on top of it. Oh, there are some free kills for Bentguru, and Bentguru in position to take out both commands. And of course, the only thing left on the map is a single command armor. It has no fuel. It has an M2 Browning rifle, which means that it'll be able to take care of a lot of infantry. And obnoxiously, Comrade Fruit is just creating a surround it. It can't go anywhere. And maybe he's going to let Bentguru take the kill and blow. I don't know. Look at this. Look at this rallying out. He's rallied out SBWs to every single inch of the woods. Does he just not see it? Yeah, he just doesn't. That's weird. So every single inch of the woods has infantry on. I guess they don't realize how little. Or maybe they're trying to just make the map look really red. That, like, knowing these guys, that's probably what they want to do. Just rallying out units every single inch of the map. And maybe they're trying to draw something. Let's look at this map together. I guess this is all designed for us to watch. Just basically calling Bentguru an idiot. But we're just busy marveling at the wreckage. There is quite a large wreckage on this map. That is absolutely true. And it looks like just going to see a giant map full of red. And if we were to say this is some sort of drawing, I think this picture looks a little bit like Homer Simpson. And this might be Marge Simpson here. With her long hair. Yep. LOL to the tune of... These guys are mean. Good thing they're probably friends. I'm finally returning back home. Returning back home. LOL. Oh, these guys are some... And here they go in for the kill. Oh. And boom. Finally, Winifred Scott surrenders. And that was a very, very unexciting game. Nothing really happened. 68,000 point win for KOMRADEFRUIT and Bentguru over their teammates, I believe, Colonel Veer and Winifred Scott. My name has been Troublmaker, and thank you guys for watching. More Wargame Cup tomorrow, hopefully.